Hello, everyone. Everyone come in, get settled. We will be going live. Well, we are live, but just waiting for our special guest. Hopefully everyone is well and doing well for this Pride Month. Cello, come on in. Waiting on our special guest. We will get started. And he got to go to Montana's State Pride in Missoula, so it started raining during the parade, and I think my body was like, no, girl, you can't be walking in the rain. All my flights yesterday was horrible. I was at the airport from 4 a.m. to 6 p.m. yesterday, so I'm a little exhausted. But our special guest is here. I'm going to go ahead and do our introduction, and then I will add our special guest. Welcome again to Skoden Talks with the Homies with your host, Auntie Sage. IP3 is an organization that provides nonviolent direction action training, campaign strategy, and community organizing tools to support Indigenous communities taking action in defense of their homelands. For more information about IP3 or to send community training requests, you can visit the website ip3action.org or contact info@ip3action.org. Welcome, everyone. As soon as I add our special. Yes. Hopefully everyone is staying cool. It's pretty hot here in Oklahoma. We even had some tornadoes and some crazy wind the other nights. Hello, relative. How are you?
Good.
Wonderful,
How are you
wonderful.
doing?
Let me readjust my camera. I was just wanting to show my chi-chis, I guess.
Okay, hold on. Let me clean my camera because I think it's a little fuzzy. Okay. There we go. My setup is all kind of crazy.
Hopefully your
today,
move
so.
it went smoothly. Nothing else got crazy broke or nothing.
Yeah, it's been a little crazy. But everything is
Awesome.
all good right now.
Well, would you like to
so.
do a little introduction of yourself?
Sure. Yeah. So, hey everybody, I'm Steph Viera. My pronouns are they, he. I'm Diné and Salvadorian. Coming live to you today from Kizh and Tongva lands in Los Angeles, California, and Long Beach, California. I am.
Yes.
I said I'm Diné, right? Yeah, I'm Diné. I always forget all the things. There's so many key parts to what makes me who I am. But yeah, I guess happy Pride for everybody joining. I guess you could refer to me as a queer two-spirit person, but also acknowledge like the fluidity of my gender queer, like kind of like all of the we can get really specific, I guess, but definitely trans under the trans umbrella.
Same here. I am Auntie Sage to everyone.
Love it.
I just recently traveled back from Missoula, Montana, from their Pride, and so much love up there. So many just tribes just everywhere. And there was actually there was an Oto and a Ponca from Oklahoma that was there. They were like, "Did we hear you right?" And I was like, "Yes." And so it was nothing but love. But we walked in the parade Saturday, and I started pouring down rain, or not pouring down, but it was raining, and so now I'm a little under the weather now, and I'm like, oh no. But
Yeah. that mixed weather got
Have y'all
you.
had Pride there in LA yet?
Yeah, but Pride here is, I mean, I guess not Indigenous Pride. I know that there was a group that like led a part of the parade that we had like the first weekend of June. Um, but yeah, that's something we can talk about too, because Pride here is pretty much a big party, and a big white party, which um, I guess my first experiences going to Pride have weren't the best, and I think that's definitely something that can be tough for somebody that's just coming out and wants to be proud and wants to show their pride and wants to be with their friends. And sometimes those events aren't always safe for Black and Brown folks, especially Indigenous folks. We face a lot of erasure in the city, so yeah, it's
Have
it's
you
definitely
been to a
happening,
all
but
native Pride
it's
before?
I actually haven't. I haven't been to an all native pride. I mean, I guess in every in every space that I've been with, like,
Yeah.
organizers, we're pretty much all queer. Yeah, so I mean, I guess we find one another, but no, I haven't yet been to, like, um I know, what is it, the San Francisco Bates Two Spirit powwow. I really wanted to go to that this year. I didn't make it up there for it, but
They
that's something I
definitely
definitely want to
are.
do.
That is just a whole experience, and just to be around all the love and support for all the Two Spirit, just all around it. Just, it's a beautiful, and like that powwow. It's not like a regular powwow. You will see everything at that powwow. So, and everybody's respectful in their own spaces. And like I did see like a little Twinkie fairy and was walking around in like um, wings and like a thong, and I was like, wow, like you don't see that at a powwow, but they were respectful and they weren't trying to be like in the middle of everything. But I was just like, okay, like you just don't know what you're gonna see there. But also,
Right.
like, I don't know if you've heard of the Montana Two Spirit gathering. That's another one to actually look up. Like, that's beautiful on Flathead Lake up
Yeah.
there. Just beautiful, beautiful. But I would like to get into
Yeah.
it talking about where do I start? Like, could you explain what the Indian Collective is and your role with them?
Yeah. So Indian Collective is a an all Indigenous led nonprofit based out of Rapid City, South Dakota, dedicated to building Indigenous power across Indian country, um, alongside allies, just to really, get to a future where we are defending, developing, and decolonizing. Um, and really just was born out of, a need to decolonize white philanthropy, as our president and CEO, Nick Tilson, says. But my role there is, I've had a couple or two roles now, since I've been with the collective in 2021. I started off as the social media manager, which was like the first full-time um, position that they had for social media. So I did that for about a year and a half, and then moved a little bit deeper into something that interested me more, which is producing. So I do a lot of content production for Indian Collective. Um, I guess my official role is associate producer, so I co-produce with someone else. And yeah, just this year has been totally focusing on our brand new Land Back for the People podcast, which is hosted by our president and CEO, Nick. And honestly, it's been a lot of work behind the scenes, but this is a brand new um, format of storytelling that is new to me, even in content creation. And more, I went to school for film and television writing, screenwriting, and yeah, I tell a lot of my coworkers that I never saw myself being able to make and create content alongside other Indigenous people. Um, and so being at Indian Collective has really kind of changed my career trajectory and my wants and goals, and it's helped me see that a future where we are autonomous in our storytelling is possible. So I'm really just overwhelmed with like joy that the fact that I get to be in Indian country making content with the help of our people. So it means a lot to me. And if I've met you through content creation through NDN, like I really value all of our relationships
Awesome,
and things like
awesome.
that.
So are you also a storyteller?
Yeah, so before NDN Collective, like when I went to college, I did a lot of like not spoken word poetry, but I did take a course that like led me to the stage at one point where I got up in front of a lot of colleagues and peers and faculty and told a personal story about my my bond or my yeah, just my relationship with my younger sister. And yeah, so I've honestly done a lot of modes of storytelling. Um, and this, yeah, filmmaking and content creation is just one of them, I guess, that I'm
Awesome.
attached to right
I also
now.
want to leave it open to our guests. If y'all have any questions or anything you want to comment, put it in the comment section. We'll try to get it answered or recognize it as soon as they come. Shop says, "Go Steph." Hey, thank y'all for being here. Is there also is there a favorite story you like to tell? No.
No, there isn't. And I I think I think right now in my life I'm still in my 20s, but now my later 20s, and I'm starting a journey where I feel like I am stepping into a part of myself where I'm trying to like connect my upbringing, also my queer journey, because I guess many elder queers would say I'm a baby queer still. I've only been out um, for a couple of years now, and that's been hard because like I professionally I am a storyteller, and that requires a lot of vulnerability. I guess I like telling stories about myself that lean into my vulnerable self. Um, so that's hard to do because you have to be uncomfortable. You have to lean in towards discomfort, and I guess I kind of favor the stories where it's a little uncomfortable, because I think that's how you get to the root of like your power, your
All
true
the
power.
way. And once you show these little babies behind us that you can be vulnerable, it teaches them how to thrive and how to just be in the moments with everyone else and being comfortable. Because I think in our own Native community, sometimes we get a little pushed in these little boxes, and it's really hard to talk about situations and life in general. And so when we have storytellers like yourself, I mean, it makes it so much easier. And um, just like even in my journey, it's been, I've been telling everybody over the weekend too, I'd never had anyone that represented me as a trans that was openly out and that was in ceremonies. And just for me to actually step out and be that representative now, there's been so many, I've opened the doors for so many that are like, I'm not where you are yet, but thank you. You are holding spaces and you are letting us know it's okay to be back in these circles. And one of the storytellers this weekend told us too, those native circles are not complete until our two-spirit people are back in those circles. Right now we are in broken circles, and so it's so important for us to be in the moment and to be visible and to be something represented. So thank you for that.
Yeah. No, thank you. You brought up a really good point. that I have been through within the past, I would say like most recently the past year. Like I've been very unafraid to say, you know what, this circle, there's something off. And it's not me. It's not I'm not the problem, right? Just for being who I am and out and proud. It's the circle. It's leadership, or it's even broken relationships with our elders. And I actually do like to reference this comic book that it's called Surviving the City by Tasha Spillett. It's an Indigenous comic. It's fairly new, but there's a part in the book where this character is going to talking circles and actually is like wants to be a part of the drum circle, but they were born female, present female in some way, and even the elder like admits what they don't know. They're like, I actually don't know the history of Two-Spirit people. And so I think there's power in our communities, our cis-het folks that don't know a lot about trans history, don't know a lot about Two-Spirit history, to let the Two-Spirit elders lead the way, to say this circle is broken, and to that be validated by that's the truth. We wouldn't be saying that. We wouldn't be sharing our discomfort if it wasn't true. And so, yeah, I just really appreciate that you've shown up in your community in that way. It's a challenge, because there are times where you feel like, am I not going to get the support that I need? Is someone going to back me up, or am I going to just be kind of othered in the situation? So it makes me happy when I hear that, like, we're willing, that there are those of us who are willing to
And
step up and
it's
say
not
something.
been easy. I wish I could say that it was just all rainbows and flowers and everything good, but it hasn't. I've I've met with some difficult people, and there's always those whispers of like, because when I dance, I dance as female, and you get the haters, and you get them. They're like, that's a man, and there's some that actually go around the whole everywhere just to make sure everyone knows what I was born as. And so, I mean, that gets tough sometimes. I mean, it bothers me mentally, and but you have so many other followers and so many people that support you, that come and lift you up because they can see it defeat you. And a lot of the times they will come over there and they will back me up and like, we will not let nothing happen to you or someone harm you. And so, I mean, it's gotten tough, and I've started dancing in ceremony probably about 10 years ago. And it's been a hard, like I said, trying to present as a female in the ceremonies. And I'm a very tall trans girl. And so a lot of the elders too, they'd be shading, be like, you're a tall girl, right? And I'm like, yes, but I'm here to protect those behind me. I said, because I was like, I'm made for protection. I'm here to protect everyone. I was like, I love my voice. I love my height. I love everything about me. And I wish y'all would too. So it gets a little tough. And I would like to ask you the same questions. Have you, since you've come out, have you had any difficulty with your communities or in the traditional spaces or with your family?
Yeah, I mean, all of the above. Like you said, I wish I could say it's been easy. I wish I could say that I've been easy on myself, that I've been kind to myself 100%, but that wouldn't be true. Um I think, like, visibly, as I've started to transition more, talk about how I would like to look. And I say this with a lot of like grace and stuff, because physically transitioning as an Indigenous person isn't a requirement to validate who you are as a trans person, or a gender fluid, gender nonconforming person. You don't need to. However, if you feel that you are just in the wrong body, or you want to shapeshift, like, I say that with a lot of content warning too, because I know shapeshifters and our culture is like tricksters. The tricksters be shapeshifted. But no, yeah, I've definitely faced a lot of challenges in space, misgendered, like all the time, still happens today. You know, my voice is not deep at all, and I love my voice. I love my femme voice. The body, however, I have issues with. But I've I've both been a lot more gentle with myself when it comes to others misgendering me or treating me the way that I don't want to be treated. And I know it's not my fault, but I also know that there are times where I can't defend myself, where I need my allies to step in and say, hey, you know, you misgendered Steph, or you like that. Those little things that people think are small, they add up. They add up to the contributing factors of self-harm, of, you know, self-destruction in a lot of ways. And you know, it made me think of what you said, like when you go to ceremony, like those little things, they really hurt because they're coming from our people, you know. And I guarantee that anybody who says something with a little bit of hate, it's like, you probably have a relative who has not come out yet. You probably have a relative, a niece, a nephew, a child who's just waiting, right? Just waiting to step out, but have these arbitrary, you know, gendered roles of, oh, you're a girl, you have to go to this side of the ceremony, you have to wear a skirt, and if you're a man, you can go over there. And that's tough. That's really tough. It's something that I've definitely experienced, but I'm fortunate to be in a city too that has a lot of queer visibility, has a lot of queer spaces that are safe. But then there's the issue of they're not always brown. They're not always all black and brown. And definitely in like the lower income areas, it could be hard. You know, it could be hard to survive. And that's it too. Like, we're surviving. We're not living. Um, but yeah, I think about those things daily. I think maybe all trans people do, like, think about, like, can I do it today? Can I go out and can I just be myself, you know, where I don't get misgendered, or I don't get, you know, talked down to or hated or hurt,
And I would
you
tell
know?
everyone, as trans, we have to do it 3 times harder. We have to do it in our everyday life. We have to do it in our LGBT community and try to prove ourselves there too. And also when we get on our native spaces, it's 3 different worlds we have to prove ourselves to be genuine, and just it gets really tough.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Especially when recently I was in space with a lot of other queer and genderqueer people, native people, and it's so hard to leave those spaces. It's so hard to go back to, you know, your day-to-day life. Maybe if you don't live in safe queer housing, you know, it could be tough, because then you could feel like you're losing a part of yourself, right? You're losing a part of your like what validates you. And I've definitely gone through periods where if I'm not surrounded by, you know, things that allow me to be my truest form, I definitely start to dwindle a little bit mentally, you
Have
know.
y'all talked any about like Two-Spirit stories or anything in the Indian Collective? Have y'all touched on any of the?
Yeah, I mean, in a positive way, I feel like um I I've definitely been one to rally a lot of the two-spirit and queer folks at NDN Collective, a lot of our staff. Um, we've gathered. It's kind of like that thing when you enter space and you're like, yeah, I see you. Like, you know what I mean? We all kind of, yeah. We're like,
Yeah.
I see you. Like, let's gather. Let's connect. And um, because I am on the communications and narrative team, I'm fortunate to, you know, have a little bit more of a say when it comes to the stories that we tell. And at some organizations, you don't have queer folks on the communications team, or you don't have queer folks, you know, on the board or in leadership. And I've been very vocal about increasing the awareness and also the advocacy work at the collective. And I think so far we're doing what we can. It could definitely be better. Um, and yeah, I really enjoy um, bringing up those those people in our communities that have shaped, you know, their presence. um, and, and I'm thinking particularly about a couple grantees that we've had. One in particular named Marka Cassidy, who I believe
Oh,
is
okay.
Osage too, and they're based out of Oklahoma. They're a two spirit. I think they're a guitarist, an artist, a vocalist, and they're actually working on a really exciting project right now that I may have the opportunity to like, highlight in some way at the uh, Indian
Yeah.
market coming up in August. Um, and so they may be there. I haven't yet had a chance to talk to them, but besides like on Facebook and stuff, but there's somebody that comes uh, present to mind about somebody that Indian Collective is really proud and honored to fund their work. And yeah, I mean, honestly, I think we do have several grantees that are really like either shaping their communities through frontline work or medic work. Um, and a lot of our partners prioritize a lot of Two Spirit issues and things like that. I'm thinking of like Native Movement, even IP3. Um, a lot of y'all are doing that work, or just, you know, showing up as you are. And that's so important to be in these key roles in Indian country right now. Because then, like you said earlier, like our younger folks will see that we have a role, we have, you know, visibility, and that we're fighting for a better future.
And I always stress by trying to make those circles whole again because colonization and when they took over with their religions and they were trying to wipe us out altogether, it has really set us back so much. Because even with my grandparents, them being in the boarding schools and just that set of mind has made them kind of like a hateful person. And I don't blame them and I don't try to hold that against them. I just know where it comes from, and I hate that's our narrative now. That is what we're having to deal with because not only have we lost those relationships with our Two Spirit people, but we've lost those relationships. We're losing our language, we're losing our traditions, all because of these boarding schools and how they were trying to wipe out our traditions and everything. So it's just, how do we get that back? And I think in our generations right now, we need to brainstorm quickly and try to figure out how do we repair what has already been done. So, but I also wanted to ask, how do we show up for our 2S LGBTQ relatives? And how do we find joy in today's climate and hard times?
I feel like that's like a really big question, but it's a good question because I feel like I'm always thinking about that. Um, right now, I feel like almost every week on the news, probably every other day, there's something about, you know, a trans person passing away or getting killed, or, you know, just content warning. It's really heavy, you know, like, and a lot of us are seeing that the first thing when we wake up, you know, or a call to support somebody who's in need. And those are the things that we can't let slip by. Like, if there's a trans person asking for support, if there's a Black and brown queer person looking for housing, we need to secure that for them. We need our allies to step in, and all of the things that are like very people centered. You know, we need to support like right now. Like, don't let those things by, because there's always somebody in need. Whether it's, you know, with mental health support or, you know, financial support. Those are easy ways to tap in. um, I think like with the bigger like legislative stuff, you know, we have a lot of cishet people that are in policy work. We have a lot of cishet natives that are doing advocacy work, and they need to prioritize these. You know, if they are passionate about legislative work, they need to get on it. They need to step up and do that work, because a lot of that work is gendered. A lot of that work is very colonial and it's hard, and I understand that, but also, you know, I don't necessarily always think that trans people should be putting themselves on the front lines of those things, because they're at risk of harm. I think, the Human Rights Campaign declared a state of emergency for all queer people at this time, specifically trans people, um, because of, you know, not just the right, but also the left. You know, there are a lot of people filled with hate. Even in our communities, they don't understand. It's it's time to understand. It's time to get with it. The culture is changing, and we also need our allies to step in and be a part of that change.
I've also had to
Um,
change my
so
settings on my social media because there's currently these hate groups, because I'm a performer too. I'm a drag performer, and there's hate groups that are following us, following the performers, and trying to find out where they are, and they're posting our pictures, our names, and everything, and trying to out us to be in harm's way. So that's definitely something that's currently going on, and it needs to be our family and friends need to be aware of that also when sharing our content, or not, just to be mindful of what harm we could be put in. So.
100%, yeah. And I recently have been in conversations with loved ones too. Like, should I? You know, my account is not private. The work that I do at NDN Collective, all the staff are pretty much on the staff page, and those are things like at any moment we should be able to, you know, hide, or not hide, but like hide your profile or go private. You know, those are really important things, especially right now. We're at such a high stake of violence, you know, in our communities, and pride is one of the worst times. Is one of the worst times to um it sucks to say that, but it's very dangerous, you know, to go to a pride event. You know, it's always important to like have a group of friends, or to think about an exit plan, or you know, prepare for a disaster. Those things can happen and have happened. um and i think I think anybody that doesn't understand those things that we face at a daily, um, on a daily basis, you know, they really need a wake up call,
All
for
the way,
sure.
all the way. Um, what advice do you have for our Two Spirit youth, or any story to share with them?
I just remembered
Oh,
that I didn't answer the
okay.
joy question. I want to focus on joy, and then I'll give some advice to spirit youth. Besides all of the, it's hard to put that aside, all the dark things, but I think a lot of what has brought me joy is my community, is other queer Indigenous people, other queer Black people who have really like paved the way for me and made me comfortable with who I am, you know, and that I don't have to fit in a box. You know, I could be outside the box, and um, that's brought a lot of a joy to me. Also, you know, although it's been hard at times, I would say that like family support, you know, my parents dedicated to learning how to treat me better, or how to, you know, respect and accept me as I transition. Because I think I'm at a point in my life where I'm actively transitioning, figuring out what that means. Um, just exploring, you know, what life could be like. And that brings me a lot of joy. It's definitely um, it's definitely a commitment. You know, I also have to balance regular colonial life, like working a job and you know, taking care of the home and things like that, but also um, tending to my mental health. That's a big part of transitioning, honestly, just making sure that I have someone to talk to outside of my family or friends, you know, someone who is um, cognizant of like who I am culturally, but also queerly. You know, I think those things are really important to have balance in your life. Also, as an Indigenous person, ceremony, you know, and then like we mentioned, like if you don't feel safe in these spaces, you belong there. I just want to say, like, you belong in that space, and it's just other people that are not making space for you and your whole being. And when those things are shifted so that I belong, you know, I think that brings me a lot of joy. Um, yeah, and like silly things. I love being silly and being, you know, weird and just being myself. That brings me a lot of joy when I could just express who I am. Um, and I guess advice that I would give to our youth is to definitely take each day like with with mm, with grace, and be patient with yourself. Um, definitely tend to yourself if you're going through a tough time, and if you don't feel safe, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to lean on someone, or um, it's really hard to find resources, I think, as a queer Indigenous person. So, but they are out there. I think a lot of these Native orgs, you know, have big networks of folks who are supportive, and I think it's okay to reach out. Um, and, and yeah, I mean, me as a resource, I'm a resource. I'm sure Sage, you're a resource too. I think those who are I think those who are visible and queer, you know, if we're out there, just hit us up. I think like my inbox is always open. That's one of the reasons why I stay off of private, is because I want to seem open to other queer people, um, and just know that there's a future ahead of us, that we get to thrive, that we are the leaders, we're restored, we're telling the stories, we're leading the way, and just know that that's possible.
Well, to get off the heavy stuff now, let's talk about what would your favorite native dish be? Is there a favorite dish you like to cook? Or is there one of grandma's recipes that is your ultimate favorite?
Wait, I
Favorite
missed some of
native
that. What's
dish.
my favorite
Favorite
dish?
indigenous dish.
Oh God. Okay, so I'm Diné, right? I'm Navajo. I gotta say mutton stew. I love mutton stew. I love the corn, like the when it's all fluffed up and it's like the meat is like really juicy. I don't know. Okay, I don't ever see
Yeah.
myself butchering a sheep, but I wasn't raised right. So I definitely know that like my
Yeah.
cousins are gonna school me. I know that Res Navajos, they're gonna come for me right now, but I love me some mutton stew. I also love like blue
Ooh,
corn mush with
yes.
berries. I'd like some maple syrup. I like to sweeten it. I know a lot of traditional Navajos don't, but I do sweeten it, and I put berries in there. Haven't had it in a while. That's really, those are foods like that we have like in the fall time. But yes, I would definitely say, I know a lot of like Navajos would say like a mutton sandwich, so fry bread and and lamb. It's just
I've
so
had
good. But I definitely need to be schooled how to butcher.
I dated this Zuni and they had me try mutton tamales with green chilies. Oh my gosh! I was like, these are. I will take the whole bundle. So I don't knock mutton.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that sounds good.
All right, doll. Well,
Yeah, don't knock until you try it.
well, we're getting close to the end. How can we uplift your work, and is there anything you'd like to plug?
Um, that's another big question. Yeah, I mean, um, yeah, watch the Land Bag for the People podcast. You can listen and watch on YouTube, at NDN Collective. It's something that me and my co-producer Willie White have worked on together. It's been a good journey. I've learned a lot from him. And I would definitely say watch that. Check it out. We have some things in the works, so just follow NDN Collective. But also, if you want to support me, I'll put my at in the chat. You can just follow me. I do a bunch of random things. You know, I use my like social media as like a photo and video blog. You know. I have like rolls of film that I'm developing that aren't done yet. So I have like a bunch of film that's coming right now. But yeah, I don't really know what's next for me.
I
But
see big
we'll
things
see.
for you, doll. It's going to be nothing but rainbows from here on out for you. Well, I want to thank you for joining us today. And
yeah, thank you.
And I'll just plug myself this week. Auntie Sage is in an all Indigenous drag show at the Smithsonian in New York. It's a free event, free show, first come, first serve on this Friday, the 21st, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong on that date. But definitely follow me, Chanel Sage, on Instagram or Sage Chanel on Facebook. So if you're in town in New York, come check us out at All Indigenous Drag Show for Pride in New York City. So I want to thank you again for being a part of us today, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.
You too, Sage. Bye.